now that we have talked through all the basics and all the background information, we can look through a couple of the actual runs that we have recorded to see things in action. And for this segment, I have one of the co-leaders of PoE Thunder Warriors, Broken Hyena, with me. Hi, Broken.
Hi, hello everyone.
So, as you may know, I'm not actually running the multi-hit team much, so I needed some expertise for this particular fight. So that's why he's here, and he will help guide us through this. So I mentioned earlier that we do know the order of the way Magnus clones and teleports the targets around, and it is based on their starting position, their deployment. So we can see these 5 hexes, that is our deployment zone, and Magnus will always copy the top left one first, then the center one here, then the bottom right one here, and if he copies more than that, then you have a terrible run. But yeah, he will keep copying down like this. So this is obviously the traditional Double Howl setup that we talked about. And like I said, since we know the clone order, we have put Onshi here because it's the least bad one that gets copied. And I would say most of us would put Snotflogger here and Karn there, but it's basically a matter of preference. Karn is more dangerous, he can kill your characters, while Snotflogger is harder to kill and can get an unfortunate active to lock down your characters. So the most important part, or that we talked about, is to actually do a proper opening that gets us an as repeatable run as possible. So we'll now skip forward, and I will let the Broken Hyena here tell us what's going on and why the movements are happening like they are, and if he would have done something different, because this is not his run. Are you ready to go, Broken?
Yes, let's do this.
Okay.
So this is the standard team, the standard Double Howl team we are using, and the standard opening which we want every one of us to use. So we'll use Snotflogger's active T1. We'll also use Albert's active to increase the tiers of Khan's active, because we want Khan to kill both Marines. And as Painhope probably mentioned, it gives us a better chance if we increase the pierce. It's not 100%, it's 100% on L4, not here on L5, but still it's a pretty good chance. Sometimes I also use Halbert's active after I use the Snotflogger's active, because then both of the grots can have the buff as well, but
yeah,
it
which
doesn't
will
matter that
probably
much.
lead to this guy dying as well, or?
No, because you put them after you summon them, so it's for the next turn.
Yeah.
But they can most probably kill. I mean, if you don't have and for this L5 you need a Snot active 48 to guarantee that the grot won't die from the Terminator. So the left Terminator will attack one of the grots. It will come closer to Magnus, and that's what we want. Yeah, it will go there and attack that grot, and that grot needs to leave, or we don't have the 100% Magnus opening we are after.
Yeah, which we will see in a second. And as you could see, Karn killed both of these, and he crit the other guy, which is the best outcome. But sometimes we don't get the kill, and then this Rubric Marine will then move over to this spot to attack this grot. but that still might allow us to get high ground position for Ragnar turn 2. So let's move ahead and see what happens.
We'll still throw the mine.
Yeah.
To keep that right Terminator on the top.
Okay, so what happened
here?
here?
You already see that we got the first copy of Aunshi, but Aunshi is still in reach of Ragnar, so we will be able to do the double hole. And that's the exact position we want Magnus in, and there is the high ground spot right to Magnus now.
Right here.
And that's where we will aim with Ragnar, yeah, to go there.
Yeah.
So the first is we are doing the double hole. It's very important. Sometimes you forget to do the second hole. We saw it. That's unfortunate. So try not to forget that after you used Aonshi's active, you need to use Ragnar's active again. Yep. And now the first thing is that you can only buff 2 characters with Helbrecht. And we have 3 damage dealers, Ragnar, Karn and Snot. So because now Karn is buffed by Helbrecht, we can just use Karn right away before moving out with Helbrecht, and we can hit with Karn. That's the first move. And then we will go into position with the other 3 characters. Also important to go into position before you hit, because Snot will summon a grot, which can be summoned on high ground as well. So if Ragnar is not in place, then the grot will go there and occupy Ragnar's place. And also Snot's trait, the get stuck in, has only a 100% chance to give the extra hits if you have 4 characters or at least 1 additional orc. Now we were lucky because the grot is alive, so Snot would get this buff, this 100% because of the grot next to Magnus. But if that grot dies, then we need all 4 characters next to Magnus when we are attacking with Snot to get the extra hit.
Okay, let's move ahead.
Yes,
so this is the main damage of the team. Magnus doing well above 150k. Another mine to distract.
Yeah, and it wasn't a very lucky crit turn, so usually we get around 300k, or you can even get to 330.
Can you tell us now why Ragnar got Gaze of Magnus?
Yeah, because Ragnar had the most damage. You saw that Ragnar alone did 150k. That's what he was counting, pain. So Ragnar is the main damage dealer now to Magnus, and that's why he got the Gaze. Because the beginning of T2, now Ragnar has all of his life. You can just hit next turn as well with Ragnar, because the Gaze, so he will still be alive. For all the consecutive turns, you need to be careful with Ragnar, because we don't really want him to die. And again, after Magnus moved away, you see there is one spot, which is next to Helbrecht and Magnus. So first you want to go there and hit with someone, and then put all your characters into position and buff 2 other characters with Helbrecht and damage Magnus. But you will see it's much less damage. So we used Snot. Now we will move to position with the other characters, Helbrecht and Karn. And trying to do as much damage as we can. Yes, and let's see. And yeah, so in this replay, we use the active of Beowar because of damage, but maybe it would have been better to just use one spore again on the top to distract one of the termies.
Yes, and the player that has this replay has a very high Biowar active level, so it does damage. If yours isn't leveled and you don't do damage with it, it's probably better to help distract the Terminators, which, like Broken said, might have been the better play here anyway. But you never know, because Magnus does weird stuff. Okay, let's move ahead.
Yeah, you can use the spore to block Magnus, or you can even use the active on a Terminator to have multiple targets. Even if you have a copy, like for example, Aushi copy goes for the spore mines, or Halbrecht copy goes for the spore mines. So you don't necessarily need to kill the copies. The Karn copy, on the other hand, because it can easily kill your characters, it usually targets your characters. So you cannot just distract that with spore mines, unfortunately.
Yep. So Karn is a dangerous guy to get copied. Okay, so I guess this turn we're just trying to do as much damage as possible.
Karn and Ragnar is out of distance, unfortunately, so they cannot do damage. But again, like Ragnar now has a gaze too, you can go pain the gaze. So it's level 2. So probably if you hit with Ragnar, you will die.
If we don't hit with Ragnar, we can get the gaze off him.
Oh, it will still remain on him, but at least he won't be damaged. That's a key move, because if Ragnar dies, then someone else gets the gaze and that other character can die. So if you keep Ragnar, if you don't hit with Ragnar until the last turn, but keep him alive, at least, and do whatever, then you guarantee your other characters not dying through gaze. And you can wait for a better hit with Karn, with Ragnar. You can put him somewhere where he can reach a high ground spot and maybe use his last hit from high ground. So that's the Ragnar play after the first 2 turns.
Yeah, sounds good. As we could see, the Karn here moved from this spot to here to a step on this Terminator's echo. The intention here is to kill this Terminator. This might not be the best move. We are assuming that the player here wanted Magnus to move back, so Karn could attack the next turn. But we end up losing several attacks, so the smarter move would probably be to move Karn down to this spot, which would allow him to attack Magnus the next 2 turns, and even if Magnus wanted to fly back up, he could occupy this area here. Anything else you want to add before we go through this turn?
No, I think Ragnar will still move and hit the Terminator, but you can see that the Terminator armor is protecting that, so Ragnar cannot really do damage.
No. Another Biowar active there, which could have been also used to distract the Terminator. So those are the options you have.
Yeah, but now it goes like 10k damage, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
And you already killed the Terminator, so we don't need to distract it anymore. But again, we could have even in this turn come closer to Karn. Of course, if you come closer to Karn, then you want to keep a route for Karn to reach Magnus and not block him, because he can of course kill your own characters if he cannot reach Magnus or a Terminator or an enemy in the...
Yeah, so we could have moved Karn down to this spot, but then, like you said, we should be conscious to not have these characters maybe on top here, but maybe on the side instead, so that Karn doesn't kill one of them if Magnus stays in this spot.
Yeah. Now, probably he moved the characters one more up, because if Magnus flies over, then the characters are closer to Magnus, so
Yeah.
you don't, he cannot fly
Escape.
out of reach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last turn there, Magnus just used his Blade of Magnus, which is okay. I think we can just finish this run. I'm not sure there's anything else important to talk about. It's just getting as much damage out as possible. So again, Karn here could have been attacking Magnus for a little bit more damage, so that's that.
Yeah, but it's 500k. It's still a pretty good hit, but everyone sees that, yeah, there could have been a couple of thousands more.